Hello, I'm Matt Bradley, the event director of the Retail Technology Show, and this is 5 Minutes With, the bite-sized interview with some of retail's most influential people. Today, I'm delighted to be joined by former retailer, founder of Retail Reflections, #1 Amazon best-selling author, Rethink Retailer, topic retail influencer, international keynote speaker, and host of the newly launched Retail Maverick podcast. The one and only, it can only be, Mr. Andrew Busby. Andrew, welcome.
Hi, Matt. Have I really done all those things? I can't believe it. Apparently, yeah. Was that really me? Wow.
We've got some fact checkers going on it at the moment, so I hope for your sake you have.
Yeah. I can vouch for all of that. Yeah, for better or worse.
Good lad. Well, we go a long way back, Andrew, and it's absolutely a pleasure to have you on the show. And I'm really, really pleased you agreed to join us. As you know, the show is 5 minutes with, so we don't have a huge amount of time. And I know that you and I could talk for hours, and we've proved that in the past. But we will try to keep to the 5-minute deadline if we can. So I've got a few questions. I just want, one of the most active people I know on social media, without doubt. You've got opinions across every element of retail. You are truly retail through and through. So it's great to just delve into the mind of Andrew Busby and see what's going on there. So first question. You are, as we said, top retailer, top influencer. What do you consider to be the biggest trend in retail right now? And it's a trend that you think all retailers should pay attention to. And what do you think to be the biggest challenge retailers are facing right now?
Well, in terms of there are so many, as you know. I am pretty active, and part of that I do go to a number of events and conferences. Sadly, none of them match up to the Retail Technology Show, but maybe we'll get into that later. But it's fascinating to hear. And if I was a retailer, I'd be a little bit kind of confused because they got a business to run. But if I was to point to one thing in terms of trends, then I think that, last year was the metaverse, and that never really happened. The hype curve on that kind of petered out. This year, it appears that it really is generative AI and chat GPT. Now, that seems to have some substance to it. And the reason why I say that is that, if nothing else, that could well drive far, far better, more effective personalization for customers. So that's really quite exciting. So that's certainly one that I would say that all retailers should really, really keep an eye on. In terms of the challenges, well, it's still inflationary pressure. We see all the forecasts that by the end of 2023, it's going to be back down again from double digit down to maybe in the UK, of course, where we are, the target is 2%, but it gets down as far as that. We don't know, but it's coming down. But even so, every retailer I speak to and I listen to faced with the same problem, and that's their costs. And how do they become more efficient, more productive? Because at the end of the day, they can't pass all of those rising costs on to the customers. So that's what I would say in terms of the trends and the challenges.
Okay. Just on that, I read recently a comment from you, and I'm just sort of wanted to push you on it a little bit. Omnichannel is dead. Now, I know you were quoting someone else, but is that something you believe?
I think I was quoting myself. At least I hope I was. That's been my narrative. That's been my narrative for a good number of years. Now, the reason that I say that, it's a little bit tongue-in-cheek because what I'm trying to do is to spark some discussion and some debate. But the serious point of it is that, if you go out, if you were to, let's say, I go and ask 100 people at the Retail Technology Show in the audience where I'm sharing, and I ask them, well, what does omnichannel mean? I can guarantee you I'll get 100 different answers.
Right. Okay.
Or if I went out into the street and just asked everyday shoppers, what does omnichannel mean? They wouldn't have heard of it. They wouldn't have a clue what it means. So it's something that was about 2011, I think it was. Different people have been credited with it, but it was somebody that I contacted about it called Darryl Rigby, who worked then and still does for Bain, and he was writing the Harvard Business Review, and he used it to try to describe the different, think back to 2011, and we were talking in terms of channels. And of course, talking in terms of channels is completely inappropriate these days. So I prefer to think of it. I mean, I like to call it customer commerce, because it's all about the customer. It's all about we as customers, because all of us in the industry, we're all shoppers, we're all consumers, and we want to be able to buy, where, when, and how we want. We want to engage with retailers and brands in any way that we want. Another way of describing it is unified commerce. So I think that we need, there are some other buzzwords which, we probably haven't got time for today, but, we know the sorts of ones we're talking about. And again, they really are meaningless. And it does frustrate me that as an industry, we're still using it. We need to simplify the language, I think.
So my next question was going to be, what one piece of advice would you give retailers? And would it be to just drop the buzzwords?
Yeah, well, yeah, that would be it. But I think, I think there's probably two pieces of advice. One would be stay relevant, quite apart from all the other pressures that are on them, as we know, from the rising costs, which I mentioned, and also the shifting and quite volatile and unpredictable consumer behavior. So stay relevant for your customers. And the other thing, which is kind of linked to what I was just describing there and about generative AI, is don't go chasing the silver bullet. I think that, that again, when at the show, there's going to be hundreds, I think, of technology vendors there, which is absolutely fantastic. They'll all be wanting to sell that their goods and services. And for retailers, you've really got to stay true to your brand. And really understand what you're trying to achieve with your brand first, and that will then inform you as to what technology you need to be deploying for whatever reason.
Like it, yeah, and I guess that goes for both sides as well. For the vendor's point of view, is to understand the retailer's issue before you start pushing on your technology towards them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. Just a couple of quick fire ones. If you know the format of the show, you'll know that. These aren't very serious, but they do spark a lot of debate. So here's the first one for you, Andrew. A straw. Has it got two holes or one hole?
Oh, good one. I would say it's got one hole.
Okay. Well, we'll see in the comment box whether people agree with you or not.
Well, because if it's got two, what's in the middle?
Well, there you go. I suppose so. I suppose you could say the same about ears, though, couldn't you? But that would be a very different.
Well, that's very. Yeah.
Right. I've got two in one for you here. What was the first car you ever owned, and what would be your dream car?
Oh, right. Well, the first car I owned was a Toyota Celica. Right. I bought it because I was still living at home. I bought it new, and it was black, and I had shiny Wolf Race wheels put on it, and I was so proud because they stuck it in the showroom before they delivered to me. So that was now the dream car. I've probably owned that. Sadly, it's no longer here. That was my Ferrari. If anybody listening is into Ferraris, then there's a particular model called a 458, and this one was a special edition of it called the Speciale. Unbelievable car. Out of this world, and was living the dream for a few years. But you move on. Been there, done that. Move on to the next thing.
Was it red, Andrew?
It was, yeah. But Ferraris don't have to be red. They come in all sorts of colours. And actually, the aficionados or the people who've got the money to spend on them usually spec them in different ways. But this particular one was, it was fairly classic in that respect.
We'll definitely want to hear more about that when I speak to you. Right, final fun question. Well, they're all fun, aren't they? I suppose the one jokingly. If you could have anyone, alive or dead, around for dinner, who would it be?
Oh, right. Now there is a good question. So it would have to. Do you know what I like when I look at the books that I've got and see some of them behind me? I quite like reading about kind of what I'd term as flawed geniuses. So people who had amazing talent for whatever they did, but they had their obvious flaws. But as I'm into, I was going to mention, say something like the chef Keith Floyd. I've got his book. He really, really interesting character. But actually, it's not going to be cars or a racing driver. I mean, I could name plenty of those that I'd love to have dinner with. But I would probably say it would be Bob Monkhouse, because he was
king of the one-liners.
He was the king of comedians. Very, very, very clever, funny man.
I got to meet Bob Monkhouse once. I can tell you what a lovely story about that.
Wow, you're lucky.
It was a great honor to meet him, and true genius.
I'm sure, absolutely. Yes.
Okay, so final question for you. You are, as you alluded to earlier, you are chairing. Thank you for doing that. It's an absolute honor to have you chairing our stage on day one of the Retail Technology Show. You did a phenomenal job last year. You had the likes of Tiny Temper, Sam Jones up on stage with you. This year, you've got the likes of Jake Humphrey, Peter Cowgill. So a lot of different sort of things happening this year. And it's incredible how that conference program moves on from year to year, where some of the subjects we were discussing last year are just frankly irrelevant to what we're discussing this year. And that's how that shows how fast this sector really does move. So, from that conference program, just the show in general, what is it you're really looking forward to?
Well, yeah, as you say, I'm chairing the headline stage on day one, and I am really looking forward to that again. It's as you know, we discussed this. It's hard work, but it's also incredibly enjoyable, and getting to meet not just Peter and Jake, which I'm really looking forward to, and with Peter, I'm really looking forward to hopefully to hearing his experiences and his wisdom, his on a retail career, because I'm sure there are going to be some nuggets in there. And then Jake, of course, particularly with the High Performance podcast, because I think that there are some real parallels there. And again, I'm sure the audience will be able to take away a lot from that. But you're right. I mean, as an observation, because you and I have worked together for many years, and every year the show, the agenda gets better and better, and it's difficult to keep up with the pace of retail, but not just Peter and Jake on the stage for day one. We've got Richard from Retail Economics, Chris Brooke-Carter from the Retail Trust, Andrew Opie from the BRC. So all people that I know in the industry, and fantastic organizations and bodies that represent the industry. So I would say it, but I think that the headline, there are other great theatres going on, but I think that really, really looking forward to a good day on day one to open the show.
Well, that is, the perfect ending to this interview. And as Andrew alluded to, some incredible speakers. We call them our Retail Rockstars on stage live on both the April 26th and the 27th of the Retail Technology Show at London's Olympia. Registration is open. Registration is free. The conference is free to attend. It is all there for you. Simply follow the link on this video and join your universe. Grab Retail's golden ticket, and we will see you at the Retail Technology Show. Thank you so much for your time, Andrew. Really, really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thanks, Matt.